The late Sunday sun filtered through the net curtains of the bay window, casting a lace-like pattern across the carpet. It was that specific time of day around 4 p.m. when the weekend feels like it is holding its breath before the exhale of Monday morning. Outside, the hum of distant traffic on the A4018 and the occasional chime of a bicycle bell drifted through the quiet street. Inside, the house smelled of roast chicken and lavender fabric softener. It was the scent of safety, the scent of a life built on routine and care. Lily sat curled on the corner of the grail-shaped sofa. She was barefoot, her toes dug into the soft cushions. She was wearing her home uniform, a soft, slightly faded lavender t-shirt and well-worn light blue jeans that hugged her frame just right. At 20, Lily was technically an adult. She was a second-year student at Exeter University, home for the weekend to do laundry and catch up on sleep. But really, she was home because she missed this. She missed the rhythm of the house, the kettle whistling, her dad's low chuckle over the football highlights, her mom's gentle humming as she watered the spider plant in the hallway. But today, the rhythm was off. The melody of the house was discordant. Earlier that afternoon, Lily had gone to the kitchen to make tea. The door was slightly ajar. She had paused in the hallway, her hand hovering over the brass handle. Voices, hushed, tense. "It's not just the contract," her dad, David, had said. His voice sounded tight, like a violin string stretched to breaking point. "It's the timing. If we can't cover the boiler service and the car tax by next month, we'll manage," her mom, Sarah, replied. Though her voice lacked its usual certainty. "We always do. There's one thing." David hesitated. The silence that followed was thick. "Lily's study abroad fund? It's just sitting there. She hasn't even applied to go next year. Maybe we dip into it. Just temporarily." Lily's stomach had dropped. Study abroad fund. She had never known such a thing existed. Her parents always said travel would be when you earn it. She had accepted that. She worked part-time at a cafe in Exeter to save for a trip to Italy. To learn they had been quietly saving for her, sacrificing for her, only to consider using it for bills. It filled her with a confusing mix of immense gratitude and crushing guilt. She stood frozen in the hallway, a 20-year-old woman paralyzed by a child's fear. "Don't tell her yet?" Her mom's voice lowered further. "Not until we're sure." Lily had slipped away. She crept back to the living room, her heart pounding against her ribs like a trapped bird. She buried herself in her phone, scrolling mindlessly through Instagram, pretending nothing had happened. Pretending she didn't know her parents were struggling. That was her first mistake. Dinner was usually the highlight of the weekend. Roast chicken with crispy skin, steamed greens that actually tasted good, and Yorkshire puddings that were sometimes perfect and sometimes collapsed. Tonight, they were slightly soggy. The air at the table was thick. You could cut it with a knife harder than the chicken. Her mom, Sarah, pushed a pea around her plate. She looked tired. The lines around her eyes seemed deeper under the dining room light. She glanced at Lily. "Did you hear us talking earlier, love?" Sarah asked. It was casual. Too casual. Lily froze. The fork in her hand felt suddenly heavy, like lead. This was the moment. "The crossroads? Pavé? Yes, I did. I heard you talking about money. Are we okay?" "Path B. The lie." Lily looked down at her plate. She shook her head silently. She didn't meet their eyes. "No," she murmured. Her dad frowned. He stopped chewing. "You sure?" "Sounded like you were in the hall," he said. "I was upstairs," Lily lied quickly. Her voice was tight. "I was getting my charger." But the damage was done. The lie hung in the air, vibrating. Her dad exchanged a look with her mom. It was a look full of suspicion and hurt. A look that said, "She knows, and she's lying to us." "You told her, didn't you?" David asked Sarah, his voice rising. Of course not, Sarah replied, startled. I just asked ... Then why is she lying? David cut in, pushing his plate away. The screech of the china on the placemat was deafening. She was right there. I saw her shadow under the kitchen door. I saw the light change. He turned to Lily. His eyes were wide, pleading for the truth. Lily, did you hear us? Lily stayed silent, her jaw clenched, her eyes fixed on her lap. She wanted to vanish. She wanted to turn into vapor and float away, but she didn't. She just sat there, a statue of avoidance. Asterisk, that silent small, almost invisible, unleashed everything. You knew, Dad said. His voice wasn't loud, but it was trembling. You knew. And you said nothing. And now you're pretending. After everything we've done for you, we're stressing about your future, and you can't even give us the dignity of the truth. I didn't mean to ... Bow quotes Lily started, but her voice cracked. You didn't mean to what? Dad snapped. Not mean to eavesdrop. Not mean to let your mom take the blame. Or not mean to make me feel like a fool in my own house. Mom tried to intervene. She reached for his hand. She's just scared, David. Leave it. But Dad wasn't listening. The argument spiraled. It wasn't about Lily anymore. It was about years of unspoken stress. About money. About the boiler. About the car. About raising adult children who still needed support but acted like strangers. And at the center of it all was Lily's silence. The quiet choice that had turned her parents against each other. I'm going to the garage, David said finally. He stood up, throwing his napkin on the table. He stormed out. The back door slammed. The kitchen felt colder than winter. Asterisk Lily remained at the table. She was trembling. Her untouched pudding was congealing beside her plate. Her mom sat heavily in her chair. She closed her eyes. She pressed one hand to her temple, rubbing a spot that Lily knew meant a headache was coming. After a long silence, 300 seconds of agonizing, quiet Mom opened her eyes. She looked at Lily, really looked at her, not with anger, but with a deep, aching disappointment. Come into the living room, she said quietly. Lily followed. She dragged her feet like a child, her socks sliding on the laminate floor. She perched on the edge of the sofa again, the same spot where she had sat earlier, comfortable and oblivious. Now, the gray fabric felt like a witness stand. Mom sat opposite her in the armchair. Her posture was straight. Her voice was measured. Lily, she began, do you understand what happened tonight? I didn't want to cause trouble, Lily whispered. Tears pricked her eyes. But you did, Mom replied gently but firmly. Your silence didn't keep the peace. It shattered it. Your dad thinks I went behind his back. He thinks you're being deceitful. And worst of all, he thinks our family doesn't talk honestly anymore. Lily's tears spilled over. I was scared, she said. I didn't know what to say about the money. I felt guilty. I know you were, Mom said, softening slightly. But you're not 15 anymore, Lily. You're 20. You are a woman. And in this house, when something affects all of us, you speak. Even if it's hard, even if you're scared. She paused, letting the words sink in. Silence in the face of truth isn't innocence, Lily. It's avoidance. And avoidance hurts people. Lily looked down. Shame burned her cheeks. She felt small. She felt young. Mom stood up. Because of your choice tonight, your father and I had our worst argument in years. That can't go without consequence. You need to understand the weight of what you did. Lily's breath hitched. What? What are you going to do? Mom met her eyes. You know what we do in this family when trust is broken by omission? Go to your room. I'll be up in 5 minutes. Asterisk Lily's stomach twisted into a knot. She nodded silently. She walked upstairs. Each step felt heavier than the last. The photos on the stairwell, Lily at graduation, Lily at prom, seemed to watch her with judgment. Her childhood room hadn't changed much. Pastel walls, a bookshelf full of old YA novels she hadn't read in years. A framed photo of her at 16 on a school trip to Bath. She sat on the edge of the bed. She twisted the hem of her lavender t-shirt in her fingers. Her heart was racing. Thump, 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 she heard. Her mom's footsteps on the stairs. Slow, deliberate. The door opened softly. Mom entered. In her hand, she held it. The wooden HAIORBRUSH. It was dark cherry wood, smooth from years of use. It was usually kept in the top drawer of her mom's dressing table. It was an antique, heavy, and solid. It had only been used a handful of times in Lily's life. Always for serious matters. Lying, stealing, willful cruelty. Never for ordinary teenage mistakes. Seeing it now, at 20, brought a rush of clarity. This wasn't a tantrum. This was a ritual. This isn't about punishment because I'm angry, Mom said, closing the door behind her. She stood in front of Lily. It's about correction. It's about making sure you feel the weight of what silence costs tonight. Do you understand? Lily nodded. Tears spilled over her cheeks. Yes, she whispered. Stand up, Mom said gently. Lily rose. Her legs felt weak. Her jeans felt stiff. Her t-shirt felt too thin. Bend over the bed. Hands on the pillow. Lily obeyed. She turned. She bent at the waist, resting her torso on the familiar floral duvet. She gripped the pillowcase. She squeezed her eyes shut. She waited. The room was silent. Then Mom moved. THWACK. The first stroke landed. It was firm. It was unmistakable. The broad, flat back of the heavy brush connected with the denim of her jeans. Lily gasped. She bit her lip. 1. She counted internally. THWACK. The second came steadily. Just as firm. 2. Thwack. 3. Each one was deliberate, measured, not rushed. The sting bloomed across her backside, sharp and warm, radiating through the denim. It was a physical shock that grounded her. It pulled her out of her head and into the moment, but it was the emotional weight that hurt more. With every impact, she saw her dad's face. She heard the door slam. She felt the guilt of her silence stop by the 6th stroke. Lily was crying quietly. Her shoulders shook. Mom paused. Do you understand why this is happening? She asked calmly. Yes, Lily sobbed into the duvet. I should have spoken up. I should have told you I heard you. And why didn't you? Because I didn't want to make things worse. Her voice broke. But I did. I made it so much worse. You did, Mom said. But you can fix it. She delivered 2 more strokes. THWACK. Softer now. A conclusion. Mom set the brush aside on the nightstand. She reached down and helped Lily sit up. Lily's face was wet, her eyes red. She looked vulnerable and young, stripped of her adult pretenses. Mom pulled her into a tight hug. Lily buried her face in her mom's shoulder, smelling the familiar lavender scent. She cried in earnest now. Not from pain, the pain was fading to a dull throb, but from relief, from regret, and from love. You're still my good girl, Mom whispered, stroking her hair. But even good girls have to learn hard lessons sometimes. Silence is not a shield, Lily. It's a wall. Don't build walls in this house. Later that night, the house was quiet again. But the tension had broken. Lily lay in bed. The sting was long faded, leaving only a ghost of a sensation, a reminder. She stared at the ceiling. She replayed every moment. She rolled onto her side, reaching for her notebook on the nightstand. In the dim glow of her phone light, she wrote, Silence isn't peace. It's abandonment. I thought I was protecting them, but I left them alone in the dark, turning on each other. Never again. She traced the words with her finger, promising herself she'd keep them. Morning arrived with golden light spilling through the curtains. The world had turned, and the nightmare of Sunday evening was over. The house smelled of coffee, and Toast. Lily came downstairs. She was wearing the same lavender t-shirt, now slightly wrinkled, but with jeans freshly washed. She found her parents at the kitchen table. They were sipping tea in quiet companionship. Her dad was reading the paper. Her mom was buttering toast. They looked up when she entered. Lily took a deep breath. She didn't look away this time. "I'm sorry," she said. Her voice was clear and steady. "For not speaking up. For letting you both think the worst of each other. I should have said I heard you. I should have asked questions. I won't hide behind silence again." Her dad looked at her. For a long moment, he just studied her face. He saw the redness in her eyes. He saw the humility. He nodded slowly. "Thank you," he said simply. "That's all we needed." He pushed the toast rack toward her. "Last slice? It's yours." Mom smiled. Her eyes were shiny. "We've decided we're not touching your fund," Mom said softly. "We'll manage. We always do. But next time, we talk together. All three of us." "Deal," Lily said. She sat down. Her heart was lighter than it had been in days. Conclusion, later. As she packed her weekend bag to return to Exeter, her mom handed her a small plastic container. "Lemon drizzle cake," Mom said. "For your flatmates." Lily hugged her tightly. She held on for a second longer than usual. "Thanks, Mom, for everything." On the train back to university, Lily sat by the window. She watched the British countryside roll by green fields, stone cottages, gray skies streaked with sun. She texted her best friend, went home thinking I'd fix nothing. Came back knowing my voice matters, even when it shakes Dot inside the carriage. Lily sat straighter. She was quieter, yes, but she wasn't silent. She was carrying a new kind of courage home with her. The courage of an adult who knows that truth, no matter how uncomfortable, is the only way to truly belong. Narrator. And that brings us to the end of Lily's story. It raises an important question for all of us. In our own families, how often do we choose the easy path of silence over the hard path of truth? And when that silence causes harm, how do we make amends? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, remember, speak up. Even if your voice shakes,